welcome holidazers to Happy Hour Holidaze, your go-to podcast for life stories, entrepreneurship, and business. We want to make sure that you get inspired. I mean, this is all about inspiration, motivation. I'm your host every single week, Manny Febre. We got our co-host, Sean Febre. And in studio today, we got 10-time PBA winner. Fucking one of, in 50-year history, one of the only 300 televised games against Walter Ray Williams. Feel bad for Walter. I mean, you didn't win, obviously. We got Steve Hoskins.
And also a PBA Hall of Fame inductee in 2017.
Yeah, PBA Hall of Fame. And he also is an entrepreneur, Southern Outdoors, does artificial turf, putting greens, holiday decor. The man, the myth, the legend in fucking studio today, about to bowl a 300 in your fucking face. Steve Hoskins.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. That's quite the introduction. I don't think I've ever had one quite like that before.
So, Steve, tell us a little bit about your early, like, going into how you got into bowling. Obviously, you know, bowling, golf. I mean, you're also a 5 handicapper on golf. I mean, you like golf, too. I'm sure you're good at darts and pool. Just gonna put it in there.
Anything that involves hand-eye coordination, I seem to be okay at.
So, how did you get it? Was it an early age where you jumped into bowling, and how did you kind of find a love for it?
Yeah, my dad was a huge bowler, quite a good bowler up in New England. I was born in Boston, but I grew up in Tarpon Springs here in Florida. But my dad was good at everything, you know, whether it be, you know, bowling, baseball, what have you, which is the reason I love baseball almost as much as I love bowling and golf. But I was pretty good at most of them. But by the time I was 13, I seemed to be better than all the adults for whatever reason.
At bowling, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So by the time I was 15, I pretty much was.
Did you roll your first 300 at those ages? Or?
Yeah, I think I was 13.
Holy fucking age.
Which, you know, it's weird because back then it was a lot more difficult to shoot 300 than it is now. It seems to be commonplace for the youth. I mean, the kids are just getting better. The equipment is so much better. So all the scoring records have been broken since I've stopped bowling. Back then, it's like the entire bowling center would stop when you had the front 9. You know, first 9 strikes in a game. Now it's just like, oh, there's 2 or 3 a night. It is what it is. It's just weird how it's changed.
So
some
then,
for the good, some for the bad.
So then, like, at 15, were you thinking to yourself, you know what, I can make a career out of this? And, I mean, do you have to win amateur tournaments in order to be invited into the PBA at that time? Or were you scouted or recruited? How did that happen?
Yeah, it's weird because I was 15 and I got invited to bowl in a qualifier for a PBA event because we had finished second in the state at our high school team, and then they got rid of high school bowling. So as a junior bowler, I had nothing else to bowl. So I decided to bowl adult leagues. And I got invited to bowl into a qualifier to go into a regional, and I ended up winning it. And it was just kind of strange because here I am bowling against all the best adults in the area. I ended up making the tournament and finished 17th.
Out of how many bowlers?
118.
Oh, wow.
Of the professionals. And it was at that very moment, it's like, well, I guess I am pretty decent at this. You know, you don't really know until you go up against, you know, better competition. And at that point in time, I started bowling regionals professionally as a junior in high school.
And that was in the 90s or late 80s?
Thanks for giving my age.
I always do it every single time. Just because I'm trying to get a timeline. So then around 18, you graduate high school. Do you go to college? Or
this is a weird story. I actually had applications out to colleges because I wanted to go to college, but then I also wanted to bowl. And it just took a little while for them to get back as far as scholarship goes because bowling wasn't as prevalent back then as far as scholarship money for males. It just was virtually non-existent. And I kind of jumped the gun and decided to go ahead and sign my letter of intent to become a PBA member because I was bowling under, you know, the auspices of, hey, I have that intent later. So my parents had to sign off for me to bowl as a 16 and 17-year-old. And by the time I went ahead and joined, that's when I got the letters from college going, hey, we've got a half scholarship. We've got a scholarship, whatever. I got accepted to 3 different universities. I couldn't use them any longer other than the one for academics. But at that point in time, I had already kind of made the leap that, hey, I'm going to go try to do this for a living. And I did it for 16 years.
And then did you end up going to college
I
then?
did. I've actually, every time I had a child, I went back to school. It's kind of weird. I would just take 6 to 8 months off the tour. Everybody looked at me like I was crazy. It's like, well, you know what? I want to be home for the birth of my children.
And then for those people that don't know, you grew up in Tarpon Springs.
Correct. Yeah.
So then you
Go
went
Spongers.
to Tarpon High.
Absolutely.
That's what it was, right?
Yeah.
So that regional that you won when you were fifth or placed 17th, you were still in Tarpon High.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that regional was in Tarpon Springs.
No,
area?
no. The regional was up in Hudson.
Oh, okay.
The pros used to bowl a regional in Hudson back in the day when we still had a bowling center there. And this was back when the country got divided into 7 regions. So we were in the South region, which to me was probably the strongest. We had the most tour players that would come home and bowl regionals in their off time. So a lot of times our fields were pretty close to bowling, a pseudo tour stop. So you could figure out how good you were based on how you'd bowl on a weekend, basis.
And that's pretty crazy because that's almost relatable to pool, because a lot of professional pool players, they're in the Tampa Bay area, which is nuts. I mean, like we've met Jeanette Lee and
the Black Widow.
The Black Widow, yeah. Hopefully
Jeanette
she's
Lee.
getting better.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jeanette Lee, yeah. And a lot of them live in the Tampa Bay area, and it seems like bowling was kind of the same thing. I wonder if there's any reason behind that. Maybe there's just a lot of bars and fucking.
And honestly, it's a great place to live.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look around, there is a lot of sports personnel from all facets of sports, whether it be, wrestling, football, baseball, guys that go and play elsewhere but still end up living here. It's a great place to live. I've been fortunate to be all over the entire country and across the globe, and there's not a whole lot of places I would rather live unless I had unlimited flow.
Have you bowled outside of the U.S.?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been to multiple countries.
Like, what would you
Japan's
say?
probably my favorite.
Is there a
When I
reason?
say probably, it is my favorite.
About Japan, like, is it just because it's a clean, very?
It's incredibly clean. It is an unbelievably respectful culture. They treat you like a king.
They go crazy for bowlers?
It's funny. I was actually a little bigger over there.
No way.
No pun intended. Based on my size, but it's like I was. It's like because of the way I threw the ball. Back in the day, they didn't have a whole lot of guys that cranked the ball or imparted a lot of power on the ball. So when I went over there, they would look at me like, "Oh my God, look at how he throws this ball."
What do you think set you apart from all the other professional bowlers when you were just coming up? I mean, as a 15, 16-year-old, beating professionals. I mean, what was your game that really made you stand out?
So good.
Yeah,
Power.
Was it pure power? Because
Yeah.
I mean, you're built like
my wife
like the
always says
juggernaut. I
I'm
call you
built
like
like
the
a bulldog.
Yeah.
I'm a smaller version of you.
But damn, so that power was just able to kind of like power through like the strikes, and I mean also being able to like roll it down straight. I guess for
Yeah, I've rarely ever threw it straight.
Yeah, 'cause
and
he
it's
does
weird.
this.
no. Well, I mean like I saw the bowl. Yeah,
And power isn't what you would think it is. Power isn't just being able to throw the ball firm.
yeah.
It's about transferring the energy from your body into the bowling ball down to the lane, which then transfers into the pins.
So it's almost like fucking golf.
Yeah,
way
it
It's
comes from the
extremely
legs.
similar.
It comes from the legs.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh,
The bigger
wow.
the muscles you can use, the easier it is to repeat under pressure as well.
Now, we were playing golf, I think it was a couple Saturdays ago, and you said that now people are not putting their thumb in the bowling ball anymore. I'm that kind of bowler just
Yeah.
because I don't know what the thumb does. I think it's like erroneous. So I kind of just know how to spin it with my palm and my fingers.
Right.
Is there a reason why that's now prevalent?
Well, they're able to impart power and spin and rotation on a ball with much less effort. The thumb actually makes it more difficult. So the guys back in the day that could do it with a thumb in the ball, to me, it's considerably more difficult. Not to take away from the guys that are tremendous on tour nowadays, because they are. I mean, they have taken advantage of what they're allowed to do, and they're exceptional at it. But it's like any other sport. You have different eras. I swear, people tell me I was born in the wrong era, even though I was one, I would use my thumb. I throw the ball like they do with my thumb.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And it's like if I would have had my career, say, 10, 15 years later, everybody's like, oh, you don't want so much more than you did back in the day.
Fucking 10 times though. That's,
I mean,
that's
So what is it 10
that's-
times? 10-time world champ or?
Well, professional terms, it'd be like PGA events, and then I've got a couple of majors.
Oh,
So,
majors.
Yeah, and for me, it's like I stopped kind of in the middle of my career. I went through a divorce, and I didn't want to be 50 years old and wonder how I missed my kids grow up.
No, that's
So I kind of stopped cold turkey, and at the time I stopped, not only was I pretty much at the height of my career, at the apex of it, but at the same point in time, I was the player president as
I
well,
saw that. You're
and
former-
still had another year left on it. And it was like, peace, guys,
Bruce
I'm out. And they just
resignation.
looked at me like I was nuts. I just wasn't happy anymore. And I can tell you, pinpoint the moment where I turned it off.
Wait, when was it?
I know right where I was in Reno during the Masters, and I'm sitting there playing video poker with Jason Couch, and it's like, I don't want to be here anymore.
No shit.
And literally that moment, I can tell you, 8 weeks later.
Was there anything that turned it off for
I mean,
you?
I think it gets lonely on the road.
Life.
Too.
Life, basically. Yeah. I mean, I was away from my kids. I'd gone through a divorce that wasn't all that pleasant, and my entire life changed. And quite frankly,
Bowling wasn't it.
my ideals shifted at that very moment.
What age were you at that time?
34.
Man, so you really did quit at the height of your career.
Yeah, because bowling is pretty much from, say, 26 to 45 is the height of your career. So I was smack in the middle of it.
And you also hold a pretty impressive record. 8 300s in one single season, right? Which is tied for the most 300s, or is it the most 300s?
No, it's tied.
It's tied.
I think Parker Bone and Kelly Kaufman share that with me. Now, the only reason that hasn't been broken is they don't bowl nearly the same amount of games we used to bowl. With the way the scoring is now, if they bowled more tournaments and had longer formats like we used to have, we used to bowl way more games than they do now. I don't want to say it's a joke, but I mean, they have tournaments where they'll bowl 14 games and then go to a stepladder final and give somebody a title for that. Our shortest one was 42 games back in the day.
Holy cow.
My majors are 64 games.
I mean, you're talking about.
So it's hard to compare
3 or 4
apples to
times.
apples.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you're taking it away from yourself, because you tied that record when they were still bowling 42, 64 games.
Yeah. You
still had to achieve that.
Of course. And the scoring pace wasn't nearly as high as it is nowadays. And it's just, to me, that's equipment and lane conditions and the availability of them to oil lanes the same throughout the entire house because of the machinery that they have now, which is another variable that they can make them impossible if they wish. But the fact that they can make them more consistent pair to pair and lane to lane just makes it that much easier on a professional because they don't have as many moves to make.
And I was actually going to ask about that because when I have been to a bowling alley, I have noticed lanes are different. They're not all the same.
Of course.
And the way they oil them up, are they oiling them from the pins forward or from the line back?
From the line back toward the pins.
Okay.
And you might have patterns that are 33 feet long, which you've got a 60-foot lane. You might have some patterns that are 33 feet long, 35, 37, 40, 48. And the longer they go or the shorter they go will dictate how you play that lane. Not only is it left to right volume, but it's also front to back volume.
Who dictates that?
The PBA.
The lanes keeper is like saying, "Hey, go fuck with these guys a little bit."
It's almost like the green when they put a fucking hole right on the middle.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, pin placement on a green is very similar to how they would oil a bowling lane. I mean, you can put a pin placement tucked over the right-hand side of a green, just over a bunker, and the guy that hits the high fade has a much, much more likely chance to hit that close than the guy that hits the hard draw.
Yeah, the hard draw, yep.
It's just the nature of the beast. Opposite would be if they put it back left. The guy with the high draw has a much more likely chance to get it closer.
Yeah.
So then is it like it's just random? You don't know until you show up to the
Now
tournament.
they put the patterns out and they tell you what they're going to play on.
Oh, see now, how are they not rolling more 300s then?
Well,
if they're
they
giving
do.
you the secret sauce.
They
But
bowl
they don't
a lot
play-
more
they don't play
300s,
as
but they
many
don't
games.
they don't bowl
games,
the same amount of games. So you might have a guy now that leads the tour and bowls 400 games, 450 games, whereas back in the day, I think Walter one year bowled 1,250, almost 1,300 games in tournament play.
In 1 year?
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's not even 300. That's fucking 4 times the amount of days there are.
It's nuts.
And
Yeah.
Walter Ray's in the hall.
Walter Ray is, if he's not the best ever, he's in the conversation for 1, 2, 3.
And you beat him.
And it's just because there's different eras. You had your Don Carter, your Earl Anthony. You've got Pete Weber, Walter, obviously Norm Duke. There's quite a group.
And PBA has official world rankings, right?
They do.
And I compared you to Phil Mickelson. right?
Yeah,
Because
which I was
you're a
irrit-
left-handed golfer.
Yeah, no, I'm a right-handed.
Oh, I
golfer.
thought, okay.
Yeah,
All right, you're
I
a
know.
right-handed golfer, but you were always
This will tell you how
second.
much he was paying attention when we played
yeah,
golf.
yeah.
Yeah, well, he said somebody was drinking a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah. I
Hey,
mean, I was dropping
Steve,
pots.
was
No,
he any
but
good?
just real quick, you never made it to
I
first.
plead
though.
the fifth.
Just like Phil Mickelson never made it to first because you always had that one guy ahead
Right.
of you in the rankings. Does that eat at you?
I'm not gonna lie, that's the one thing I never accomplished.
Never number
What,
one.
number one?
I never got
Never
to number one.
How'd you?
Yeah.
How close did you get?
I
Steve?
got to number two.
Number two.
Yeah, periodically for about a 3.5 year span.
Phil Mickelson.
And I can tell you, you had Norm Duke, Parker Bone, and Walter Ray, and I will tell you, it wasn't ever close.
Really?
During the time where I was bowling as good as I had ever bowled in my career, they were bowling that much better.
Jeez.
So hats off to them. I mean, it was never like, oh my gosh, if I win this next tournament, I'm going to be first.
Yeah.
Hey,
No.
but still, you achieved number 2 in the world. That's still pretty phenomenal.
I'm pleased with it. I
Yeah.
would have loved to have been number one, but
Yeah,
I'll,
well, fuck
I'll
yeah.
never be able to say that.
Silver
Hey,
medals for
But
Steve.
there's a lot you can say. I mean, you had a
Oh,
hell of
yeah.
a career.
Record.
I wouldn't trade it. It was a very interesting way to make a living.
Yeah.
I got to see a lot of the world, and I still do now. Obviously, my wife and I have a travel agency as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
What would
really?
you? What would you? You know, like the purses in golf tournaments. What would you compare the purses in a PBA tournament to?
It would be like finishing last place on a golf tournament.
No,
Really?
but see,
Holy shit.
but,
From a
but
cash perspective,
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
mean,
yeah.
Yeah, it's
they're not even.
I
Comparable.
looked at it. And but when you add inflation into it, into today's dollars, it wasn't really very little money. I mean,
If you could be in the top 10,
And have
say
endorsements.
in the 80s
Yeah,
and 90s,
exactly.
and that's another thing as well. Is I was fortunate to have a few companies that I worked for during that time, which I was one of the few that had multiple companies that I worked for. So I'd like to say that was because I was a little bit marketable
Yeah.
because of how I threw it. And I threw it differently than many guys on tour. But if you were in the top 10, you can make a living. If you thought you were going to be able to make a living and be 25th in the world constantly, you were going to find out real quick that you weren't going to have a whole lot extra.
really?
Yeah, it's just kind of how it works.
Oh man. Well,
So-
I guess PBA wasn't really. Well, did you ever win a world championship? I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, the two majors I won were the
It's
Tour
at
and Players
majors.
Championship.
Yeah. I think.
They're all, quote unquote, I don't know if you'd call them world championships or
Well, I'm not sure how
Yeah.
PBA tournament structure is because I don't think golf has a world championship.
not
you know?
technically. They have four
Yeah.
majors. You know,
Yeah.
we had four majors, and then we had one that our fifth, which they kind of think was a major. It would be like the
Players.
like TPC.
Yeah.
Yeah, the players for golf. We have a fifth one.
All right, guys, when we get back with Happy Hour Holidays, we'll ask Steve how he mentally prepared for these tournaments and how he dealt with high-pressure situations in front of a TV. We'll be right back. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all our reels, and check us out on Spotify, Apple, everything that you want, and vote for us on
Best of the Bay.
Best of the Bay.
Creative loathing. For a podcast.
The official voting
Doesn't start
starts
till
August 1st.
Yep.
So make sure you get on there. We were nominated, correct?
I'm not sure yet. They haven't contacted us. So
Okay, well, vote if
we better be. Fuck.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays. You know, speaking here with Steve, I just, when you guys were on the professional tour, we'll get back to the other question, but how much shit talking was there really during the game?
Depending on who you were playing, there was quite a bit.
It was?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I think about it. I mean, you got quite frankly, a group of roughly 100 guys that are at almost every single
No
tournament.
drinking, right? No drinking during the professional,
Oh,
right?
during competition?
Yeah.
No.
Nothing, right? Yeah.
No,
PBA
I mean,
did
not
let
to
it.
say that there weren't guys that did that.
Beforehand, right? Before
Yeah,
they
but
start.
there's a strict rule
Yeah.
against that.
Okay.
That's
Me
wild.
personally, no, never.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
while I was competing.
Yeah.
I've made up for lost time after I retired.
Captain and the Coke Zero.
Yeah,
man.
I've been known to have a cocktail or two and enjoy myself, but
Yeah.
it's all in good fun. I do most of that on the golf course now, just relaxing and have a good time with my buddies.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm competitive, so obviously I want to play well.
Yeah, no, that's always the thing. I mean, everybody says, hey, you know, it's nice to have a good time playing golf, but at the same time, I'd rather play well and have a good time than
Yeah.
just have a good time because
Correct.
when you're golf is, I mean, when it comes to all sports, because I played all sports, and I feel like when it comes to golf, there's just something about that sport that is just so tough to replicate the same swing when you could throw a football, throw a bowling ball the same exact way so many times. What do you think makes golf such a hard sport to play?
You know, that is a good question. There's so much mechanical
And mental, right?
well, you know, all sports, I can tell you
Yeah.
at the higher level, the biggest difference between somebody that is ultra successful and somebody who's not is directly between the ears, period. Because I would look around on tour and go, wow, there's 50 guys that throw it as good or better than me. You know, that's what you would think. And then it's like, why am I winning and they're not? There's something that's not computing between their ears.
Yeah, because
You know, in a time of stress,
Yeah.
or they're not making the correct decisions.
A lack of confidence, you think? I mean,
We all struggle with that. I mean,
Yeah.
I spent my entire career wondering if I was good enough to be on tour.
But I feel like you had that killer mentality because of that one match against Walter Ray. You had already won. You didn't need to throw 2 more strikes to get that perfect 300.
Yeah, but that's something
At that point,
that's historical at that moment.
But what I'm
Yeah.
saying, what's going through your head at that point? Are you saying, you know what? I'm getting the perfect 300 because I'm a killer, right? That's got to be the mentality.
It's not so much that you're a killer. I mean, and it's weird because of the way I'd finished the previous game against Tim Chris or Jason Couch. Actually, I bowled Tim the first game. I kind of leaked oil coming down the stretch the last couple frames. So it wasn't until I threw the 9th strike when I realistically shut Walter out that I even thought about shooting 300. It was about just winning the game and getting to bowl the title match against Steelsmith, the very next one. So after I threw the 9th one, you sit on the bench and you're like, holy crap, I may never get another opportunity to do this. I better take advantage of it. And ironically, I finished on the lane that I wouldn't say I struggled on. The left lane, I seemed to be pretty locked in on. The right lane, I was having to move, you know, every 3rd shot on the right-hand lane to try to feel like I was still right in the correct area, making subtle adjustments. So, you know, going into the 10th frame, yes, I'm on the front 9, but I still wasn't convinced I was lined up completely.
Yeah.
And that's where you just trust the process and go, this is where I'm going to throw it. I want to throw it as cleanly and as good as I possibly can. And fortunately for me, I threw probably 3 of the best shots I've ever thrown in my life.
In that final frame.
Do they switch during frames? Do they make you switch lanes?
Yeah.
Or
You'll bowl alternate frames.
So okay, every single one.
That way nobody has an advantage, right?
Well, it's not so much that. This is the way it's always been. You bowl in a pair of lanes.
Yeah.
Where that came from, you know,
No clue.
first off, I have zero idea. That's funny. That's a good question.
During a match, does the oil on the lane start to dry up?
Well, not only does it dry up, but it moves around. So you have to constantly watch how your ball gets thrown down the lane and how it reacts to the oil. And then the weird part is you also have to be very honest as to whether or not you threw it good. I see way too many people throw a ball and they'll throw it poorly and then try to adjust off a poor shot thinking, oh, the lanes are changing. No, you just didn't throw it very good. You know, realize that and just go, forget that one and go on to the next one. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing I see amateurs do is they make adjustments off of poor shots.
And they don't know they threw it poorly, which actually
well, no, they do. They do.
They
but
just won't admit it.
Or they won't admit it, which leads me to my next
pros
question.
Pros are guilty of that at times where it's like, well, it's never my fault.
Yeah, well, of course. You know how professional golfers have caddies?
Yeah.
Do you have a coach sitting next to you saying, like a hype man almost? Or is
No,
it a coach saying, hey, if you threw it a couple, arrows to the left or to the right, you would have,
No, we're set up more like tennis where coaching is actually illegal.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day. Now
But
they have that. They'll have a ball rep come out. And we had ball reps too, but as soon as the block started, they were basically supposed to leave you alone. So, and they become more, it depends on the person. Me with my ball rep, Billy Inger back in the day, it's like he was more of a psychologist.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Then he was trying to help me read a lane.
Yeah.
He would look at my mannerisms and go, okay, he needs something. He needs to talk to somebody to get it off his chest. And it might just be he's just standing there and I'll say something, hey, I'm thinking of this. And he'll just nod his head. Okay. All he did was just solidify what was going through my head. Whereas golf, not only do they help you determine yardages and what have you, they are definitively a psychologist if they are a good caddy.
Yeah. So that's why
they can make or break you.
That's why Rory McIlroy's caddy is fired. No, he didn't get fired. I'm just kidding.
Nor should he. I don't think most people understand just how unbelievably difficult the position Rory is in when it comes to that.
That putt was difficult. Nobody they see it's close, so they think it's easy, but that putt was hard.
I mean, being a douchebag definitely is tough.
Well, stop it. Rory's freaking awesome. But I mean, I'm not a Rory. You got a 2.5, 3 footer that's downhill that breaks probably a cup and a half outside the hole,
right to
left to right, which almost everybody decells on, and then throw on top of that the green speeds were about 14. That's like putting on your living or your kitchen tile.
Yeah.
And I love everybody that goes, "Oh, I can't believe he choked. He missed that." It's like, just get over it. Stop it.
So you're not a DeChambeau fan?
I love DeChambeau.
Oh, okay.
That was one of the few tournaments where I wish both of them could have won. Yeah. I think Bryson's awesome for the game. Yeah. And I think Rory is definitely one of the best ever.
Let's talk about this real quick. Keegan Bradley, Ryder Cup captain.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with that, man?
Oh,
they couldn't find anybody better? I know he's a three-time major winner.
They offered it to Tiger first. He
but
denied
Keegan Bradley isn't old. And usually the people that are captains are in like their late to mid 40s, right?
50s maybe.
Maybe even 50 sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, many times. And sometimes they're older.
Why Keegan Bradley?
They felt like they shafted him.
Well, I think he definitively got shafted when Zach Johnson was the captain. But you know what?
Justin Thomas didn't deserve to be there.
No, but as a captain, you're also looking at who gels together. And Justin Thomas's record in the Ryder Cup has been spectacular.
No, it's been really good.
You can make an argument there as well. But at the same point in time, Keegan Bradley, he is just a
likable guy.
Well, he comes from a golfing family. I mean, I think it's his aunt, Pat
sure.
Bradley, who was, a tremendous winner on the LPGA back in the day. But Keegan is an absolute sports guy. If you watch the documentary,
I did. The full swing, yeah.
It's pretty badass.
It is.
It's very well done.
Which season?
Yeah. The number 2.
Oh, I haven't watched
it yet. And so, I mean, I understand it. I mean, he is a massive competitor. He's obviously had an incredibly successful career.
But he's more with family than he is with friends. And I think the other guys, Justin Thomas, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, they do a lot of friend stuff, where Keegan is more family-oriented, so he's not in the clique, like they said.
Yeah, which honestly, as somebody that, traveled and had a family, I was definitively way more like Keegan Bradley than I would be the frat boy.
Yeah.
I mean, that just wasn't me back in the day. I mean, I'm a self-proclaimed nerd. Yeah. When I was younger.
There is one thing I like that he
Thanks
said.
for not correcting me that I'm not still a nerd.
No, I mean, the sports put you out of the nerd zone, so you're good.
There's one thing I like that he said. He said that he's going to look at the best players from all tours.
Sure.
He didn't say that he was going to leave Live out. Kind of like Zach Johnson. The only reason he had to pick Brooks Koepka is because, you won a major. How do you not pick the guy? I mean, I feel like Zach Johnson was more PGA heavy, where Keegan Bradley is for the entirety of the golf game.
Yeah, you also have to look at the time frame too. Look at how it's evolved since then.
Well, this was 2 years ago?
Yeah, but put Keegan back in that place, and it's like, he's then between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
They're attempting to come together, if at all possible, down the road.
Well, they're negotiating.
Right.
Yeah.
Taking the same money they frowned upon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whether that's going to happen.
No, that's a fact from
Saudi
the PIF.
oil BS is just a
but that's the
it is.
But that's the way
do you drive a car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's
your oil.
But that's the way ESPN advertised every time they
Saudi rebel.
It's like what the fuck but now all of a sudden PGA is going to take the money and it's PIF fund.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, when's the last time you heard Saudi?
Yeah, I haven't.
You haven't.
Yeah,
because PGA doesn't want to put that out.
Hey,
we're taking the same money.
Unfortunately, ESPN has become unbelievably political, which is why
become just like Disney.
It almost doesn't go on my television anymore.
I wish I didn't have to.
And I used to love that network when they first came out.
I used to watch it religiously.
I used to love it.
Yeah, I used to watch ESPN Sports Center every single morning before I went to school religiously. I mean, that was my shit.
Was it first look?
Yeah, the top 10 plays, the top not 10 plays. I mean, I was obsessed.
I always liked the not top 10.
Yeah.
Those were always.
Just,
you were probably on ESPN once or twice.
A couple of times. Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah, and it's funny because ESPN actually owned 10% of our tour for a while.
Really?
Yeah, back when the Microsoft guys came aboard, they had a contract with ESPN, and they gave them 10% of the tour. What was so mind-blowing to me is they never promoted it. How do
I
you
used to see it on SportsCenter though.
Yeah,
Like,
how do
I
you
mean,
well, we were rarely on sports.
Yeah,
Center.
not
somebody had to
often.
do something.
Yeah, phenomenal.
I remember
Amazing.
seeing matches though on ESPN2, I think.
Well, we were on regular ESPN for the actual telecast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But here's the funny part. You would actually be on ESPN for the telecast, and then they wouldn't tell you who won on SportsCenter.
Why?
Yeah. Who the hell knows? I mean, it's like we were the redheaded stepchild. It's like, what the hell is going on?
And you
here?
own 10%.
You own part
Yeah,
of
I know.
us, for God's sakes. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's true. That doesn't make a lot of
Yeah.
sense to me.
Well,
So-
I mean, it's all like you said. ESPN got political, but back in the '90s, I'm not sure if they were or not. They probably weren't back in the '90s until Disney bought ESPN,
Bingo.
and then you had
You just hit the nail on the head.
yeah, and they even made a ESPN like amusement show. I forget what oh man, they had the fucking cars jumping and shit. You saw it when we went with our parents.
What was it?
It was like late '90s. It was called like the Worldwide of Sports or Worldwide Sports or something like
Yeah, the hotel, right?
At Disney?
that. At Disney, it was
Yeah,
some kind
yeah,
of
it was
show,
Wide World
and
of
it was
Sports.
featured by ESPN.
Yeah.
And that's when they first bought them. So they bought them in like the '90s.
Yeah, it was late. I want to say it was late 90s.
Yeah, that's like the first recollection I had.
Where they turned male cars into female cars?
Jesus.
Just kidding, guys.
I'm not quite sure how to respond.
Well, going back to the mental part, Steve. So, I mean, how did you prepare mentally before match? Let's talk about like big matches, like a major. What was going through your mind? Were you talking to your coach? How did you practice and prepare for this?
Were you doing
Yeah.
hookers and cocaine?
Oh, Jesus. No, not at all. It's funny because I spent the vast majority of my career married.
Yeah.
So that really wasn't my thing. More power to people that's how they want to live their life. I'm cool with that. When it came to preparation, though, it was like you just had to realize you don't really change your preparation for majors.
There's not really any film, is there? Like, was there also film that you would watch?
you're
like
looking at your opponent?
Yeah.
No, not like
or
no.
even yourself.
Because it's up to just him.
Well, yeah, of course. Whenever you bowled on television or whatever, you'd try to dissect it. There was not a lot of film during tournaments because we don't have much coverage from point A to point B. It's only, at the end of point B when you have the telecast that you see everybody. So that was part of the biggest issue with trying to promote bowling is the fact that you would only see 5 guys a week. Whereas you turn on a golf telecast, they'll show 45 guys hitting a shot.
I actually
at some
hate
point in
that
time.
they, the way they cover golf also is like they do kind of.
Which league?
No, they only show the other guys whenever they do like something phenomenal.
Yeah.
For the most part, you see the top 5.
Unless it's Live Golf, because
Yeah,
if you've
no,
ever
that-
watched a Live Golf
no.
telecast, bro, they show everybody.
It's funny. I've watched one and it's confusing.
It is because why?
I don't really like.
Because of all the numbers.
There's just so much going on, and
on
it's
the
like, you know what? I
screen.
want to watch golf.
Yeah,
I don't-
I'm more of a golf purist, though, but I'm the same way in almost every sport. It's like
Yeah.
all the changes that happen. It's like, why are you fixing something if it's not
No,
broken?
yeah.
And they're only doing it to get ratings.
But the problem was it was broken because think about it now. These signature events that PGA has
Mhm.
that they're paying larger payouts did not exist until Live Golf. And then Phil Mickelson called it out before Live Golf even existed, stating, hey, they don't let us use our NIL, our name, image, and likeness because PGA is recording everything and they own all the rights. Do you know how much money they have? And then people were like, oh, Phil, you're out of your mind. And then as soon as Live was created, all of a sudden PGA finds multiple hundreds of millions of dollars to pay their players. And then the players were like, wait a second. I thought you didn't have that money.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're like, well, I turned down how much money to go to Live?
I think Rory turned
And
down
you
like
could've-
500 million.
No, I think it was more than that,
or
bro.
$1 billion.
An
800,
asinine amount of
800,
money.
Yeah.
800.
And I think Tiger Woods, even at
Yeah,
right
but
now where
he's
he's not
fucking-
that great. I
Oh,
mean,
he's buku rich, bro.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Here's what baffles me is how much money do you have to turn that down?
I know that's true.
What
I
do you
mean,
what do you mean?
Like
how much money do you have to
in-
have already
yeah.
to go?
Turn down.
Yeah.
500 million doesn't really do it. For me.
Yeah, I know because
Really?
you got to think.
I mean, I understand integrity, I understand
Yeah.
history, but come on. And then the other part that's hilarious for me is, you got guys that have made $40 and $50 million. And like, oh, I'm doing it for my family. Seriously, seriously, kiss my ass. You're doing it for your family. The guy making $50,000 a year is doing it for his family.
Well, John Rahm said it.
I mean, stop. Cut the bullshit.
Well, I mean, here, if you're thinking about like a guy like Harold Werner, you know, I mean,
Harold Varner.
Yeah,
The
Harold
third.
Werner. Yeah,
was still making loads of cash,
but not as much as he made on there.
Totally
I mean,
get why
because-
Taylor Gooch.
Taylor
you know, and
Gooch.
his
Yeah,
Charles Schwartzel.
yeah, Schwartzel too. I mean,
Charles. Sorry.
But
But I mean, I think he won the inaugural LIV event.
yeah.
And it's like, I think he won more in that event than he
Then,
had won in
yeah,
like the previous
it's like
10
the-
years
But
or
that's
something
not
like
even-
That's mind-boggling
Yeah.
to me. It's like,
No, it's
more
not.
power to you.
Yeah,
The reason is because they didn't pay for you to show up to the tournament. You had to cover your caddy. You had to cover up your travel costs.
I mean, that's common. And
Is it common? I mean, you're in a professional league.
It's 100% common.
Yeah, man.
Maybe-
The NFL's not going to pay for your
You get a
fitness
salary
trainer
in the NFL.
and all that shit if you want it
You
off.
get a salary in the NFL. They pay for your travel to every game.
That's
the
true.
PGA, if you're,
You also get per diems and
And
so on
per-
and so forth.
I don't
But I
think
mean,
the PGA was giving out per diems.
no, PGA, I
No.
don't believe they
And-
did.
and then,
They're
like-
set up very much like bowling
Yeah,
because
that's
Yeah.
an
how
individual.
bowling got established was from Eddie Elias, who was an attorney out of Akron, Ohio, who actually represented Chichi Rodriguez, Danny and Marlo
Chichi.
Thomas. So they structured bowling exactly after golf, which is why we had 3 days of qualifying and then a finals, 4-day event, same thing. We had Monday qualifiers. We'd call it our rabbit squads. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Tuesday practice session and pro-ams. It's like, it is literally a mirror image of what golf was back in the 50s and 60s.
In terms of tournament.
What is in that cup?
White Claw.
Oh, we're drinking tequila.
Sponsor us, goddammit.
Yeah. Okay. When we come back, make sure to stay tuned on Happy Hour Holidays. We'll
Cheers.
my brother will look at a pronunciation form, you know, so he can learn how to talk. But, you know, we just want to get a little bit in the nitty gritty of golf or bowling just to see how it works, you know, qualifiers, all that stuff. Let's go into that a
And we
little
also
bit
got
so
to
we
talk
can do it
about
for the
Southern
audience.
Outdoors, though.
Yeah, we will. We will definitely talk about Southern Outdoors. We'll be right back. Like, comment, and subscribe, and vote for us because we will be nominated. We
will
are your number one
Podcast.
news.
What? What's in that glass?
Welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays, your Italian news station for everything in between and everything out of here. We're making very good wine. Where's the guest host substitute?
Yes.
Come on in.
I don't know where the fuck this guy's
we're going to the bullpen here.
Cheers,
Cheers, gentlemen.
There you go. All right, guys. So, Steve, besides that.
Oh, when you cheers, you got to drink.
No, I was going to drink.
Mm-hmm.
So, Steve, you honestly, you pulled out of bowling a little bit early. You probably were at the prime of your career, but obviously, you know, family comes first. So how did you pick up into the putting greens, the artificial turf, the holiday decor? How did you get into this space? And how, you know, obviously you like golf, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you're a pretty decent golfer, 15 handicap, not too bad.
Good luck. Good luck.
Oh, wait,
though.
no, 5. No,
No, that's perfect. That means you give me one aside.
But
And we
so-
play for your office?
Whoa.
Good, it's leased. They can deal with it. But so how did you get into that industry and doing the artificial turf? I mean, it's a successful business. You've been in business now for a while too. I mean, creating all kind of awesome putting greens, great quality as well. We're not going with
Thank
the, you know, cheap shit that's $7 a square. We're going with the high end stuff. Where did you get this this business idea, and how have you turned into a successful business?
Yeah, it kind of happened by accident.
Really?
Quite frankly.
Holy
yeah.
shit.
I had a car lot for 10 years, and of course I worked for a bank.
Car Zone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
After I retired from the tour, I went to work for a bank and did subprime financing. That's what I'm really versed in.
Uh-huh.
And my brother-in-law actually worked for me at the car lot and jokingly said, "Hey, would you want to start a different business and possibly do, you know, maybe landscaping, something like that?" It was ready for me to do something different, and I'm just kind of like that. I went back in, created a business back in my office, walked out and put it down in front of him. It's like, all right, we have a business. What are we going to do? I literally put my car lot for sale the next day
Oh, shit.
and just started cold turkey.
Where was your car lot at?
Up in Newport Richie.
Oh, okay.
And you sold it with inventory, everything, and,
Mhm.
and how did you just sell
Sold
it?
off my receivables, all of it, because I did subprime. I did buy here, pay here.
Did you own the land also?
Yeah, I sold the building as well.
How'd you find the buyer to exit? Did you pay a business broker or
No. But shockingly enough, as soon as I put it for sale, one of the people that knew me from the auction was like, "Hey, I have somebody that might want to buy your property,"
Oh wow.
and literally it was within a month.
Can I ask how much you sold it for?
No.
Okay.
I would say so. That's confidential.
It's public record as far as the building goes. I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is.
Well, the
How much did you sell the building for?
Oh, the building, I think it was $250.
Oh,
It's just a small
Oh,
place.
how long ago
And we're
was
going
this?
back to 2017,
17?
2016.
Oh,
It
so
was
you
way
started this
before.
recently.
Yeah, I've been doing this
Oh, man,
about
8
7
years.
years.
7 years?
Seven or 8 years. I mean, as long as we've been in business for
Yeah, no,
16.
My father also had a company doing this when I was a kid.
Oh,
Not artificial turf, but I mean all types of outdoor stuff. So for me, I was very used to it, and it's just one of those where we started from scratch. And then as far as the holiday lighting portion of it, one of my buddies had a holiday lighting business, asked us to help one day. Literally halfway through the day, I'm like, "This is spectacular. How about if we buy your business and you come to work for me, because I can scale this way quicker than you can." And we've had that for 5.5 years and have more than quadrupled billing.
Is it still the same company?
I advertise it out of the Southern Outdoors, but it's actually Holiday Lighting of Tampa Bay. I have 3 separate companies. My brother-in-law has one. We have Holiday Lighting of Tampa Bay together, and then I have Southern Outdoors that does nothing but outdoor beautification, basically, if you will. Whether it be artificial turf, putting greens. I do a ton of landscape lighting, obviously the holiday lighting, and I dabble in pavers. I don't do a ton of pavers any longer, just because I truly enjoy working with the artificial turf, more so than anything.
Yeah.
So that the holiday lighting, have you seen those all around or all year round holiday lights that can be installed on the house that look like it's part of the house, but when you turn them on at night, it actually has I don't know if they're LEDs or whatever they may
Yeah,
be.
they are LEDs.
Do you guys install those too?
I do. They're not holiday lighting, though. That's the funny part. They're completely different.
Yeah, you can do like
I'm not
4th
sure-
of July and turn them blue, green, whatever.
So what is holiday lighting?
Correct. Well, that's like strip lighting that goes
Yeah.
underneath the soffits
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. Holiday lighting itself, the old classic C9s that stick above
Yeah.
and stick out, whereas the ones you're talking about are just affixed to the actual house themselves. They're permanent lighting, which we
Yeah,
do that
that's-
as well. It is not a substitute for the classic holiday lighting look. So if you're looking for true Christmas, C9s are definitively the way to go.
And is this permanent where they're buying, or are they just leasing all?
Oh,
of
it's a
them?
leasing program. Yeah, I
Okay.
do a 3-year lease with an option for year
Oh.
4 and 5. So my customers can actually look at their budget and go, "Hey, I know what my cost is going to be for my holiday lighting for the next 5 years." And I'm good with that. And even during COVID, when the prices started to go up and, my employee costs went up, I kept my pricing the same. I never altered any of those contracts, which is why we've had a 98% retention rate
Wow.
when they had to renew. And they knew, the price increase was coming. But it's like I didn't change it at all during COVID when it became a cluster for everybody to deal with.
Yeah,
it.
it's a fucking.
And I think, as I say, 98% of my customers totally understood that and appreciated the fact that I didn't gouge them. And
because
that's
you
why
could have easily gouged
without a
them,
doubt, hey, my cost is so much higher, I don't want to do it anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I signed a contract with them and I honored that. And that's how we do business. And I think that's why we have grown so much without any advertising. It's
You
kind of
don't
incredible.
advertise at all.
Don't spend $1 on it right now.
You call it C9 light bulbs, right?
Mhm.
That's what they are. Are they
Yeah.
the ones that kind of look like a candlestick?
Yes,
Okay, I know
very much
exactly
so.
what you-
And then we'll affix them with either magnets or gutter clips or shingle tabs.
So
It depends on the
non-invasive
roof
to the
line.
house, right? Non-invasive to the house.
Not at all. Yeah.
So then you probably bought a shit ton of lights then.
We have a lot.
I'm assuming you went through a distributor.
Yeah, actually, one of our distributors is the same one that would supply Busch Gardens or Disney World.
Oh,
So
wow.
you're getting commercial grade lighting. You're not purchasing this stuff at Home Depot or Lowe's. No offense to Home Depot or Lowe's, but that's homeowner grade. We're commercial grade, which is why I can do full warranties for upwards of 5 to 7 years on these lights, and I have zero concern.
What are we talking about? Like just a standard cost for like a 2,000 square foot house, that
That's
wants
a
to
square.
Do, yeah,
It's
that's
just
a
a
square.
Well,
That wants to do like
or
lighting, and then
rectangle.
what are we talking about? Like for a package. Like what do you have your packages?
And none of these are hard quotes.
Oh,
These are
of
just
course.
the
Yeah, 'cause
generalities.
every house is
Yeah.
different and every house is custom. It
Yeah.
depends on trees. I mean, I can do anything and everything, or I can do very minimal, which is just a roof line
Yeah.
for customers. Typically, on your average, say 2,000 to 3,000 square foot house that has a normal linear footage in the front, we're going to be somewhere in the ballpark of $800 to $2,000 a year.
Wow, that's not bad.
And how long do they have it on there for? Is it from October or is it from?
We have
December?
some that get installed as early as the third week of October.
And
That's when they want them. And a lot of mine will say, hey, I really want to be able to flip the switch on Thanksgiving.
And make them a different
So when they
color.
put their deposits, and we start taking deposits in May,
wow.
and of course with ours, they're under contract. So they just tell me how early they'd like it installed. They go, hey, my drop dead date is November 12th. Great. Let me know early enough and I'll make sure you're done by the 12th. I may do it the third week of October, and then we don't ever plug it in or flip the switch, until that day that they want it, and they're ready to go.
Is there any of these lights that are where you, like we were talking about, where you can change the color to a holiday? So let's say it's Thanksgiving or
it's
or
orange
Halloween,
and
and they
brown,
want orange and black. The lights to show up orange and black, or are these are primarily for Christmas?
These are for Christmas. The
Right.
vast majority are the warm white Christmas, but I do have colored options when it comes to that. As far as individual lights changing colors, I do have morphing lights that will change multiple colors at the same time.
Gotcha.
But as far as the technology so far with the individual C9s, that's not quite there yet.
Okay,
And it's from a cost perspective.
gotcha.
It would be incredibly expensive to put those chips in each and every one of those bulbs. You would quadruple the price right out of the gate.
What happens during, say, a hurricane, and some of these lights come
I mean,
unaffixed?
December is not really hurricane.
No,
season.
but if they are asking
If
for
we're putting them up at
October,
the end of October, though,
yeah,
they
because
still
we've dealt with that already. It was
you
kind
guys
of
come back out at no cost to reaffix the lights.
we
or-
typically don't cover acts of God or nature,
exactly
natural
Yeah.
events. Here's the weird part: is last year we had a storm come through with 65-mile-an-hour winds. We totally expected our phone to ring off the hook the next morning. Not a one.
Yeah,
I was blown away.
it's only
like
65 miles an hour.
right, but I mean, you think about it,
Yeah.
something's going to come unaffixed.
Yeah.
Especially on trees. I mean, if you just think about maybe not the
Yeah.
roof line so much, but the trees.
Yeah.
I mean, the other trees, branches falling off, hitting the
Yeah.
other trees,
And I think that has everything to do with installation process.
and the quality and
Yeah,
the customer
I
service
mean-
that you provide.
Correct. But as a general rule, I can say without hesitation, we have never charged anybody to go out and fix anything.
Yeah.
That's
That's
just
good.
kind of our MO. It has not been anything that's been rampant.
Which I think is a good business practice. Like for us with Febre Frameworks, we don't charge people to reschedule when other real estate photography companies do when it rains.
Right.
It's like, well, hey, you can't control the weather, neither can we. Why are we
Correct.
going to charge you if it's raining? There's nothing we could do. There's nothing you could do. It's kind of similar to that aspect. Now, if they cancel the last minute and say, hey, we got to cancel. I don't know if we do charge. Actually, Manny would know more about that.
No, we don't charge
Yeah.
for. We do what we do is we do the interiors and then we try to reschedule the exteriors, so
Yeah.
it makes it easy on or we can just reschedule the whole shoot and we
Yeah.
charge you $5,000 for the reschedule.
I wish we did.
Well-
Cash. Cash.
Unmarked bills.
Unmarked bill.
Non-sequential.
Non-sequential.
Keep the die to yourself.
But it seems like you got a pretty good grasp on that. And then I know we pivoted away from
The artificial turf and the,
the
putting green.
artificial turf.
Yeah, putting greens are my specialty.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love golf. Golf has basically taken its place of bowling
Yeah,
in my life, where I just absolutely love to do it.
I love to do
It's
it
just
too.
something I enjoy, and what's so crazy for me is people are like, well, don't you only want to play with really, really good players? It's like, no,
Whoa, wait.
I don't care. I mean, I'll
Steve,
even,
they can't
I'll,
be
I'll even play with the two of you.
I was about to say
The gin has gone down. Okay, damn it.
Hey, listen, I played good that Saturday.
You did.
I didn't
You
play
did.
horrible.
That's not what he
You-
said. He's plead the fifth.
Plead the fifth. No, the only
yeah.
reason we got third place, the only fucking reason we tied for third place is because I made 2 putts putts over 20 feet on that par 3 and on that par 4. I was the first one to putt. I didn't see
So
no
apparently
lines.
this has
I'm
become the
dropping
Sean
them in.
show.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Sean.
it is.
Show.
Nah,
Hey,
man, hey, I'm a good
Steve,
golfer. I'm a
We'll
good
see when we play Cypress Run
That's
with
right.
Steve, and then we'll put a little bit of money on and see if your little dick can get out of his
Uh-oh.
pants.
Hey, as long as we're playing handicaps, I'm down.
Oh, here we go.
What do you mean, USGA or the gin handicap? I'm a 17.3. You owe me strokes. You owe me strokes. Let's go, baby. You know what? The last few Mondays, I've been shooting better than you.
No, we haven't. We shot the exact
You
same
shot a
score.
49-48. I
Yeah.
shot a, and then we shot a
Those are
48-48.
my off weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you're lying on your gin.
No, I'm not lying on my gin. I didn't put every
He's
single
really
score.
a 20.5.
Yeah, right. Bullshit. Wait, look, there's nothing to talk about. When we go play, we will see. And that's it.
Yes,
that's what I
we
can say.
shall.
There's nothing about the little
We shall.
numbers that will do anything when you're
Actually,
out
it's
there
all about the
with a
numbers.
big fucking stick in your hand that you can't hit. This guy can't hit a driver.
Yeah, he knows.
He never even pulled it out.
No.
He can't
Pulled
pull
out
it
my one
It's
iron.
broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's broken. Yeah, broke it over my
Oh, that was a
knee.
1-iron?
That was a 1 iron and a
Gosh, watching
3.
it fly, I thought it was a 6.
See what I mean? There it is. Yeah.
I mean, he ain't lying.
Well, he's useless when it comes to anything. off the tee.
Driving. No, not entirely true.
Yeah, it is.
If it's a 300-yard hole, I can hit a 9-iron, 180, 155.
That's right. 155. I was
Yeah,
gonna
or
say.
127.
One twenty-
One time, get the fuck
Get to
out
the
of here.
line.
That's not true. Yeah, now he's lying through his
Yeah.
teeth.
Damn, I wish I would have done that one, but
That's
Well,
funny.
why couldn't you?
because I am strapped to a chain that's called the household.
You mean what?
Oh, he was just talking. He couldn't join us to play golf.
Because his
Yeah.
wife's got his
But-
balls by the chain.
No, she doesn't. She's a nice
See,
woman.
I'm fortunate there. I have a wife that absolutely wants me to play golf.
Really?
She loves her alone time, and she knows that if I play enough golf, I'm always in a good mood.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I would say I
Have
could,
at it.
I could play
We
her.
work hard and we play hard.
That's
I mean,
right.
My wife works just as hard as I do,
Yeah.
and she's very successful at what she does.
What's
And
your
she's-
wife do?
Yeah. What is your?
we have a travel agency.
Oh,
nice.
that's where.
Yeah, Missy Hoskins Cruise Planners is our franchise.
No
Just
shit.
pack and go vacations.com.
So then, you guys bought a franchise.
Mhm.
Is that okay?
Yeah, well, actually, believe it or not, she became an associate of someone, and because of her sales, even during COVID, the company awarded her a franchise
Oh wow.
because the
Awarded
sales
her.
were
Wow.
so good even during COVID. So my wife is a researcher,
So
and she takes it personal. She
said,
wants to get somebody the biggest bang for their buck and give them the greatest vacation they could ever ask for.
And you said it's just cruises.
No. No,
Oh.
50% of it is land.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
she's an all-inclusive expert.
What about
Um,
airfare? Air travel.
If it's in a package deal, to just do airfare, no, that's not what we do because the airlines are pretty difficult to work with, and there's certain airlines that we stay away from.
Is there trips to Europe?
Oh God, she's a European specialist.
Really?
That's where we spent our honeymoon.
Me and my wife are going to
she
Europe.
just loves packaging Europe for people.
Me and my wife are going to Europe. Maybe I should talk to your wife.
There's no
about-
maybe about it.
There's no.
You should absolutely do
What
that.
plug the travel agency. What
It's just packandgovacations.com, and it's Missy Hoskins Cruise Planners if you look her up on Facebook.
Missy Hoskins cruise. I'm
Yep.
actually gonna have to get all that.
Yeah,
after the show.
we'll get the
yeah.
links and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I was
We'll
trying
charge
to
you
do it.
double.
I was trying to do it myself. And I'm like, okay, well, do I got to take a train? Do I got to?
Well,
do this?
here's the beautiful part.
Because we're
When-
going to Rome and then Greece.
Oh, Rome is one of my favorite cities in the
Hell
world.
yeah, ancient. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And you could spend days there if you wanted to. But the biggest thing with, and I've called it a travel agency, we're actually travel advisors.
Ooh.
And I do nothing but golf trips. That's the only thing I do with our company. She does everything else. She's an advisor. She'll have a consultation with you, find out exactly what your likes and dislikes are, and tailor make a vacation to that. Pricing is never, ever higher using our agency. If anything, we're going to get you perks or a cheaper price. When it comes to cruising, she's linked in with the cruise line. So if the price goes down after you've booked it, you'll actually get that difference.
No
Wow.
way.
Yeah, without having to constantly watch it yourself to see if it goes down. So she loves making that phone call. Hey, guess what? I just saved you an extra $400 or $800, whatever it may be.
I would just give it to her if she said that.
Yeah, that's
Well-
what I'm. Well, I mean,
Yeah. She actually loves making those phone calls, and it's like most people are like, well, you're giving away some of your some of your revenue, and it's like, well, no, I'm not. I'm making my customer experience perfect.
And then next time you're going to come and book.
It's all about the
100%.
customer
Well, not only
service.
that, she's also going to get referrals based on the
Correct.
fact that then later on she saved money.
Yeah.
Saved the
absolutely.
client money.
Absolutely.
Damn, I need to talk to her.
But the other
Me and
thing
my
is
wife need to talk to
when
her.
you're
No
on
brown people, though.
No brown people.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, he's Cuban.
I am not.
I am
Are you take a look at me. You'll never guess. I should be pale white with freckles.
Irish.
Polish.
Irish and English.
Irish.
I'm from Boston.
Oh, so
Of
you
course
were
I'm
pissed
Irish.
off that England lost
Didn't
against
care.
Spain.
We didn't care.
I'm not a soccer
See, he doesn't
guy.
care
Sorry.
about soccer.
I really don't. Sorry.
Damn.
It is what it is. I mean, I can appreciate how much people are fans, but it's just a game that I've never gotten into.
You're right. It's only the most popular game in the entire world. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's because 22 people can play for it and buy one ball.
I
I mean, that is no. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's,
That's true.
literally why it
That's
is so popular.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the cheapest sport.
Without a doubt. I mean,
Actually, it is. Yeah,
you just get a field,
You hit a
throw a couple
baseball,
of cones down.
Shit,
Go
honestly,
too far, you're fucked.
honestly, you could play with a basketball, even a volleyball. You could play soccer with any kind of ball except like a baseball.
Yeah, well, it would hurt
Yeah,
You know what I heard.
if you kick it too hard.
yeah. You could play with a football too. It's called rugby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you got to put a white coat on and do one of these.
There's only a white coat.
Australian rules football. You don't remember that from ESPN back in the day?
Yeah.
Back in the day, I'm only 21.
Yeah, good luck with that.
So, Steve, we
no,
don't.
no, there's only 30 seconds left.
Oh, okay. We're just gonna. Okay, we'll be right back with Happy Hour Holidays. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we're gonna be doing a Friday feature on Steve's company, obviously Southern Outdoors, with everything that he offers and the great putting greens that he puts in. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Happy Hour.
Stop doing that shit, bro. Jesus Christ, you're not Italian.
Welcome back again.
No, okay, bull rat. No, all that's gonna be included.
No,
Fuck it.
all right. Welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays, your go-to podcast for bad golfers.
Manny Febre.
You know, 15 handicap, 18 handicap. We got the guy who is the best handicap to liquor. So we're talking about the Open over here. You know,
How are you gonna shoot well today?
don't worry about it. Once
You
I
guys
get-
are playing today?
yeah, 9 holes.
5 in a
Wow.
league. Yeah.
I'll be perfectly fine. But anyways, the Open. Who are your picks for the Open? I mean, I know that Rory's probably going to finish last. He's a dirt ball.
Yeah, he definitely is. That guy's
And then
garbage.
Oberg's going to
Stop
choke on the fourth round.
Oberg always chokes on the fourth
And
round.
Tiger Woods should just be a water girl now.
All right, I'll give you my 5 picks. Clearly, number 1, Scotty Scheffler. That's without a doubt. Scotty, number 1. Number 2, I'm going to go with Bryson DeChambeau. Number 3, I'm going to go with Oberg, even though he choked. And Robert McIntyre won the Genesis Scottish Open. Number 4 is going to be, I always throw this one out there, Colin Morikawa. Number 5, I hate to say the name, but I'm going to say it anyways, Rory McIlroy. I was gonna say-
Tournament?
I hate him, but I'm going to pick him. Number 5, Rory McIlroy, I think is actually going to do it this time.
All right, perfect. Now that we got
But
that
he's your
out of the way.
5th pick, but you actually think he's going to do it. So should
I think he can do it. He could do it. Because, like, we're in pools, and you got to pick 5. So those are my 5. All right?
All
Me?
right. Yeah.
Go for it. Okay,
All
go
right.
for it,
All
go
right.
for
So I got Robert McIntyre. Okay. He just won the
my
Scottish Open.
God, bro.
He's on a good streak.
Fucking
The guy
piggyback,
plays
one
links.
win.
Doesn't matter. He plays links golf well. Okay. This is European. Then we got obviously Scotty Scheffler. We got to include him in there.
I don't know how
Okay.
you didn't pick him first.
Then we got to go Oberg. You know, Oberg's been playing some
You
good
just
golf.
talk shit about
I know it
Oberg.
doesn't matter. He still plays good. We're gonna silently pick Brian Harmon because Brian Harmon won the last year's. Was it last year's?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
last
That's what I'm saying. The waggle will end up working, and then we want
That's a strong move
yeah,
there.
and then we're gonna go to Bryson DeChambeau and we're gonna go Brooks Koepka.
That's 6.
That's 5. I had Oberg, McIntyre,
Bryson DeChambeau.
Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, and number 5 was Brian Harmon.
I was 5.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he had 6 too.
I thought he did have 6.
Weird.
I think he said one more.
He
Brooks
probably
Koepka,
did.
I think.
No, I had Brooks. Look, McIntyre, Oberg, Brian Harmon, DeChambeau, Koepka.
I feel like he said one
I
more.
do too.
Who was the
We're
other?
gonna have to rewind. I'm not even sure. Tells us we're not really
Red
paying
flag
attention to him.
challenge.
There's no challenge here, VAR, okay?
Oh, no, it's recorded, so we'll see.
All right, so who do you got, Steve?
I
you
like.
say you didn't mention Scotty Scheffler.
Oh, that's right.
So you did say
You
6.
I did say
say
All right,
6, yeah.
we're not crazy.
All right,
Yeah,
so
we're
take out Brooks and leave Bryson.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. I'll go Scheffler,
Uh-huh.
McIlroy, DeChambeau, Brooks.
Oh, Brooks in there.
Just going for all the favorites.
You got one more.
Yeah. I like Morikawa.
Yeah, Morikawa.
I do.
Man,
He has just been right there.
About
And
Tekala.
Oberg's hard not to go with. That
Yeah,
that
Oberg
dude's going to be a
is
stud
really
for
hard.
years if he's healthy.
I mean, and here's the thing about Morikawa. For the last few majors, he's been there.
I like Victor Hovland too as a sleeper that's not
What
necessarily
happened to him?
playing very well.
His
What
emotions.
happened to
His
him, though,
emotions.
man?
It's his emotions.
Because I mean, he was
Could be the
leading-
Norwegian grass.
Yeah. I know that guy always looks high as fuck, man. That guy always looks like he's baked up.
I forget who the one guy that did it. He was talking about Happy Hovland, Norwegian grass. I did not make that up. I heard that somewhere else.
No, but he
I'm
definitely.
piggybacking.
I just saw him lose his shit at the Masters. Remember? I don't know if you remember that one
What do
where,
you mean lose the shit?
like, he putted it, he missed it, then he putted it real hard, and then he putted it
pissed
again.
off.
And actually, he would have made the cut if he wouldn't have had that little episode because he was like one off the cut.
What is he?
and that killed him.
He's 23,
Oh, no.
he's,
Hovland's gotta be
27. Yeah, I would say 27.
28
and
on
he's
that?
never won a major. He's
No,
26.
He hasn't won a major
No.
yet.
But he did win the tour championship.
Yeah, I mean,
I would rather
dude's
take.
spectacular.
Yeah, he's still a good golfer. You know.
Beyond good.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to think about it. I mean, it's so tough to be consistently good. I mean, with Scotty Scheffler right now winning as much as he's done.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
How does he
man,
not win?
I really think it's all golf is completely like Steve said, between the ears, and that's also with every sport. Because I mean, how do you like play so well and then all of a sudden just fall off? You know,
Who are you talking about?
just in general. You know, just the way golf
because
is.
Scotty, for whatever reason, this year he's won 6. He's won 6 before July 1st. There's
Yeah.
only one other person that did that.
we all know who he is,
It wasn't Tiger.
Jimmy Woods.
No, it was Jack Nicklaus, right? And then there was one other person. I think it was,
Was it?
I think it was Jack Nicklaus and Sam Snead.
Fact check.
Yeah, fact check. that.
Yeah.
But I mean, PGA Golf Channel was fucking putting that shit out. He's only one of 3 people that have done it.
I love some of the stats they come up with. You know, he's
Yeah.
the first person to do something after 5 o'clock on a day that ends in Y. It's like, come on. I love it when they start to do like basketball stats. Well, it's first person to score 12 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, and only commit 2 flagrant fouls in the same game.
Yeah,
Hello.
Well, I mean, they got those stats with Caitlin Clark. So, like, Caitlin Clark, you know who she is, right?
Of course.
Yeah, she plays for the Indiana Fever.
My
She's
daughter-in-law
rookie.
is a basketball coach.
So she's like the first rookie female WNBA player to ever have a triple-double, which kind of blows my mind. Triple-double. That's what they
Okay.
said.
Huh. All
Yeah.
right.
I don't
I
think-
tell you what.
I thought that was crazy.
You can say what you want. She has brought a lot of attention to the
I like
WNBA
Caitlin Clark.
because I can
I
tell
think
you,
she's good.
I've never really watched it before.
I still don't watch it.
I still
I mean,
don't watch shit.
It is what it is.
I'll
I
look
mean,
at stats. That's
Yeah.
about it.
I mean, obviously they're pounding it home in the media. You know,
Yeah.
they want
have
you to
to.
watch it. They're
Yeah.
looking to get advertisers. I get it. I mean, everybody wants the advertising dollar going toward their sport. But
And you know what's working?
she's obviously
actually?
incredible at it.
This year, every game that she has played in has actually had record attendance for that arena.
There must be nothing to do in those cities.
There aren't. It's fucking
You
Indiana,
ever been
bro.
to Indianapolis?
No, it wasn't Indianapolis.
Well, that's where she plays.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what she plays.
okay.
Indiana Fever.
Pacers.
No,
That's so they probably play in that arena.
yeah, Indiana
yeah.
Fever.
Well, they're the Fever, yeah. And then they tried to,
Is that what they're
I
called?
think they're called the Indiana Fever.
they're called the Indiana Fever, yeah. And she got Rookie of the Year, I think.
You know,
The ESPYs.
they can't call them Chiefs or Redskins or anything, or they'll change the name, or the Indians. You know, can't call them.
What if they were called the Indiana Yellow Fever?
Yellow Fever? You know, you have to change them because you might offend 15,000 people in a circumference of 1 square foot.
I think you're giving them too much credit for 15,000. I think it's more like 1,200.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we're wrapping up this show now.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to leave the audience with? It could be tidbits of advice. It could be about Southern Outdoors. It could be about the travel agency. It could be about the holiday lighting, your bowling career, anything you want to say.
Wow. Give me a few more options.
Motivation.
About your terrible golf game.
Your horrendous golf game where you contributed nothing during our screen.
Wow. Damn, Chuck, is that what he said?
It's a good thing my feet are up. No, I would say, obviously we didn't talk a ton about, the putting greens or what have you. But if you're interested in a putting green, obviously check out the website. It's southernoutdoorsco.com. You can check it out there. Obviously, we have the travel agency. If you want to travel to play golf, call us. I'll take care of that. Or if it's, a European vacation, an Alaskan getaway, all-inclusives, cruising, we have access to every bit of it. And we have the franchise that we own is in the top 10 of franchises every year, voted every year. So the support system is incredible. Obviously, my bowling career was an incredible way to make a living. A fun way to see the entire world, which is awesome.
And what was the determination in, as far as, when you were a 15, 13-year-old, kid and you were beating professionals? I mean, your mindset, just to tell the audience, I mean, what kind of mindset does it take to be professionals at such a young age and have that confidence?
Well, I wouldn't say I was beating them.
But you were,
by the time I was
hanging in there.
late 15, I began to compete with them.
Yeah. But what did it take mentally to
They're
be able to?
awesome.
Yeah, they're unbelievable. I mean, you're talking about people that hit strikes every single time, but I mean, you were there competing with them at a very young age and having some kind of self-belief, something that you were telling yourself that was helping you get through, hey, I can be here.
That's the biggest struggle, quite frankly, and that's what that self-belief, and I think that's where today's athletes, because it just seems like everybody is so unbelievably narcissistic when it comes to how they approach everything. It's like they want to be stars before they've ever beaten anybody.
Caleb Williams.
But I actually believe that helps them, because in their own headspace, they actually start to believe it. They say it enough that they believe it. So it's one of those things where it's like you can believe it into reality. Whereas when I grew up, it was like, boy, you had to win something to get an award or be told that you were good at something.
You get a participation award.
Correct. Yeah, we didn't have those. If you finished, outside the top, guess what? You got nothing. You got the pat on the back. Do better next time.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is, back then, it's like you fought those demons over and over and over again. It was trying to get the headspace correct to compete at that level, which I think a lot of the people today, at least outwardly, show that that's not an issue. Inwardly, though, I think that's where you look at the ones that are successful. They've dealt with it. They've embraced it. They've figured out how to overcome it. The ones that act like they're tremendous stars but never seem to win anything, I can guarantee you they are a jumbled mess between the years. That's just not a LeBron fan.
Neither am I.
MJ.
But damn, that dude's awfully good.
I mean, he is
good at.
He is just.
What does he have? Only 3 championships?
No, he's got more.
4.
Than that.
He's only got 4.
Either way, the guy's a pussy.
It's a different era. I mean, again, I'll give him credit. He spent his entire career and has never been in trouble. And in today's day and age, with the media scrutiny and how they want to just bring everybody down that is at the top, I'll liken it to Derek Jeter. And I'm from Boston, so I am by no means a Yankee fan in any way, shape, or form. The dude played 20 years in New York and never had a scandal.
Yeah.
Besides spreading herpes like a wildfire.
Well, that's totally different. Is he moving to the Villages?
Well, they don't need any more there. Jeez.
But it's like, so I can respect him on that end. Yeah, not my favorite player. I'm a Michael Jordan guy and a Larry Bird guy back in the day. I mean, the Bird Magic era was, magical for basketball. if you will. I'm not even a basketball fan, and I loved it back then.
Do you know that MJ's the only one that really came out of all the guys that you mentioned? Kobe, Michael, Bird, Wilt, Bill Russell. All these guys never said they were the greatest of all time. LBJ in an interview said, yeah, I'm the greatest basketball player to ever live. The guy was delusional, but it kind of goes back to narcissism. I mean, you kind of have to be a little bit narcissistic in order to try and become great.
I don't disagree with that. I think every athlete of
Speaking into
whatever it is that you do, you somehow have to get your own head to believe that you are better at something than somebody else.
Yeah.
And I would think with my career, I got to the point in my career where I understood conditions, and when I had it, I knew I had to be good. And then when you felt it physically on top of that, that's when you just put the hammer down and beat somebody into submission. You know, and when you don't, you're constantly battling that doubt. You know, am I good enough to be here?
Could I have done it?
Yeah. What should I have done different to be better?
But isn't that a growing point also, that your self-realization that you can acknowledge failure and try to learn from it, where most people would say, I failed, that's it, I'm done. You said, you know what, I failed. What can I learn from it in order to succeed the next time? That is something that's been lost in this younger generation. When they fail, they want that participation trophy to feel like they accomplished something.
I think it's more the parents have created it than the actual kids. The kids don't know. Ooh. They're being molded as children. Mm-hmm. You know, so if they grow up, look squarely at the parents. Yeah. You know, if they feel entitled to something, figure out where that came from.
I remember
I was
No, go ahead.
I was just going to expound on one thing you said about, you know, when you're losing, you know, you learn something. There's that saying, oh, I learn a lot when I lose. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I learned a hell of a lot more when I was winning.
Exactly.
Oh, sure.
I got a bigger dick than everybody.
Jesus. But seriously, it's like you look at it and you go, what did I do, you know, that made me better than everybody else at this very moment? Versus, hey, what did I do that caused me to lose? Yeah. It's like you're harping on the negative. It's like, I want to know what I did that made me better than everybody else in the building at that very moment. That's what I want to remember. That's the feeling that I want going through my head. So that when it is kind of going sour, you go, hey, remember what that felt like? You remember what your process was? Do you remember what you did? So for me, I learned a hell of a lot more through success than I did when I was getting my ass beat.
But to become successful, you had to fail at some point. I mean, you weren't always winning. Right?
Did Ricky Bobby lose?
No.
Well, remember when Ricky
Bobby
showed up at the Bourbon Bowl at halftime and the Mud Dogs won the Super Bowl?
That's the wrong one, dummy.
Oh, no. That's
Bobby Boucher.
Yeah. Ricky Bobby's NASCAR.
I want you to, after you get done with this podcast, is recenter yourself, meditate, and figure out what you're doing wrong. Because this is not right. Shake and bake time. We're going to shake
and bake. Bah.
If you ain't first, you last, Ricky Bobby.
Well, sometimes I want to be first.
Yeah.
What does he say? Well, if you win, how am I going to be first?
You know what I didn't think about that then? Yeah, that's right. I'm good with it. Ain't nothing wrong with silver. Ain't wrong with the silver. Damn, Steve, we really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me. You know, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I know it's been fun, man. The bowling, you know, your business, Southern Outdoors. Remember, if you need any putting greens, artificial turf, holiday lights, if you want to be the best at everything, you contact this man right here.
And if you want to travel,
play
golf trips, European vacations, Alaskan flights. I don't know if I'm missing anything.
SouthernOutdoorCo.com. Check it out.
How can they reach the travel agency? Is there a website for that?
Just packandgovacations.com.
Just Pack and Go Vacations.
Pack and Go Vacations.
Or look up Missy Hoskins Cruise Planners on Facebook.
And then I think that's all the plugs right there.
Yeah. Should be all of them.
There's only 2 minutes up. So.
All right, guys. And we're definitely going to do the Friday feature on Southern Outdoors. So not only will we get more of an in-depth, feature on the actual business itself and how it operates with all the great examples that you're going to show us as well. It's going to be great for not only Happy Hour Holidaze to promote such a good business that's been in business for such a long time. So it's going to be a great feature. Make sure you check that out. That's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. And then we'll also let you know how Manny won Cypress Run and beat everybody on that course. It's going to be a very easy game for me. I'm one handicap.
You better shoot in the
Anyways.
fucking 30s.
Remember,
today,
like,
bro.
comment, and subscribe. Make sure to vote for us. And we are out. Peace out. Get inspired. Get motivated. Make all your dreams come true. If not, I'll take your idea and I'll make it come true. Peace out.